Previously on Cartoon Network Wacky Racing, the 2000 season saw the Toons join a third different team at Galaxy Motorsports. The result? Just two different paint schemes in the Daytona 500 and Southern 500, then none for the last 25 years. But what if the sponsor never left the sport? What kind of paint schemes would we have seen? Tonight, let's look at what you viewers came up with and who was willing to be wacky. Our alternate timeline begins at Speed Weeks 2001 with the 14th different paint scheme of the program. This time, Cartoon Network joined forces with underdog Norm Benning alongside associate sponsors Sobe and 84 Lumber. This marked the first ever feature for the show Ed, Ed and Eddie, with quarters behind each number and plank on the left rear, leaving open space for more sponsors. Unfortunately, Benning missed the 500 field after unscheduled stops in his Twin 125 left him 24th. The sponsor then jumped to Kenny Wallace, whose Eel River Racing entry made the show in his own fast white car. The Daytona 500 kicked off a 10-race deal with Cartoon Network aboard and Hills Brothers as an associate backer. "It's a perfect combination," said team owner Jack Birmingham. Kenny is a bit of a cartoon character himself. Kenny had plenty of company from a returning Dexter's Laboratory, plus Johnny Bravo, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and Jackie Chan Adventures. After a 25th place finish in Daytona, Wallace would debut this two-sided scheme at Michigan in August to promote the new tune Grim and Evil, set to debut on the 24th. Both characters Haas Delgado and Hector Con Carne got their names on the roof rails. This scheme ran in conjunction with Phoenix Racing's entry for Jeff Purvis, this one on a green base with glowing accents and its jagged black numbers. While Wallace finished 34th, Purvis managed to come home 22nd, just one lap down to the leaders. Action Performance then released both cars as diecast that Halloween. Cartoon Network also helped Roush Racing, where rookie Kurt Busch brought a plain white Ford to the second round in Rockingham. This time, a checkered flag pattern decorated both sides of the number 97 Ford, highlighting Dexter, the Powerpuff Girls, Johnny Bravo, and Courage. This scheme also ran the first appearance of Samurai Jack on the rear deck lid, a promotion for the show's debut in August. Busch slid into the wall and finished 36th, then soon picked up backing from Sharpie and Rubbermaid. The Toons also came to help Buckshot Jones at Petty Enterprises. After a lackluster start to the year, Georgia Pacific looked to scale back its sponsorship for the season's second half. For the inaugural Cup race at Chicagoland in July, the brand again promoted Ed, Ed and Eddie, this time with the frightened Ed peering through his fingers on the hood. The rear bumper was decorated with bolted plates. Buckshot got the car into the show, but a mid-race crash left him in 38th. Next came the fall race at Richmond, where Bill Elliott and Evernham Motorsports ran a throwback scheme to the Melling racing days to promote Courage the Cowardly Dog. The purple and green Dodge brought back the old Lake Speed numbers, but with tattered fabric across each to resemble the stripes off the Evernham numbers, as shown in these sketches. Elliott started at a distant 37th that night, but climbed to 17th by the checkered flag. Cartoon Network's piecemeal 2001 season concluded in the originally scheduled season finale at Atlanta, Ted Turner's home track. Fans were clamoring for another Ed, Ed and Eddie scheme, and got it, this time with Dunleavy Racing and driver Rick Mast. Associate sponsor Inks Custom Catering jumped on board this rocket car scheme, whose design made it appear the car was falling to pieces as it sped by. The hand-drawn numbers from Benning's car at Daytona had returned, this time with accents requested by NASCAR to make them more visible. In these sketches, we see how the 0 in the number 90 was supposed to be a jawbreaker before this too was rejected by the sanctioning body. Unfortunately, Mast failed to qualify. Heading into the 2002 season, Brett Bodine was on the verge of shutting down his single-car team after Ralph's Supermarkets left as sponsor. In came Cartoon Network, which secured Bodine a 20-race deal and 2 different paint schemes. The first was Bright Blue, a promotion for the Cartoon show featuring many of the channel's new tunes, including the first ever promotion for I Am Weasel. Later that summer came the next Courage the Cowardly Dog feature on a soft gray background. While Bodine scored just 2 top 10 finishes, one in each of these schemes at both Rockingham races, fans were excited to see Cartoon Network back on the track nearly every week. Bodine wasn't the only one either. With the release of the Powerpuff Girls movie on July 3rd, and Shawna Robinson lacking sponsorship for much of her rookie campaign, the two joined forces for a 3-race deal at Michigan, Sears Point, and Daytona. Neon bursts of light punctuated a deep purple Dodge with reflective pink numbers. Robinson finished 30th in Michigan, missed the field on the road course, then earned a respectable 15th under the lights at Daytona. Cartoon Network Wacky Racing continued to come to the aid of unsponsored teams in 2003, this time with Andy Petrie Racing for the Daytona 500. After APR scaled back to just its number 33, driver Christian Fittipaldi would be the first to team up with superheroes from DC's Teen Titans. This scheme marked a departure from many of its predecessors, using muted colors to bring both the characters and its bright yellow numbers into focus. After a 35th place run in the rain-shortened 500, Paul Menard raced the car on the 2 road course races, running 29th in Sears Point and 35th at the Glen. Each had logos for Menards on a carefully planned spot above the rear wheels. Continuing the superhero theme was Johnny Benson Jr., whose Valvoline Pontiac went green to promote Ben 10, which was still in development at the time. The name of the show made Benson's team the perfect choice, its altered numbers decorating the Omnitrix pattern on the roof and each door. The scheme ran at Rockingham, scene of Benson's first win the previous fall. While they fell short of another win, Benson still started outside pole and finished in 13th. The Powerpuff Girls were as popular as ever late in the 03 season, and Hendrick Motorsports looked to capitalize with an unprecedented 5-car lineup, each with shimmering paint from DuPont. These 3 schemes featured Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup on the cars of Jeff Gordon, Terry Labonte, and Jimmie Johnson. Johnson finished best of this group in 3rd, ahead of Gordon in 5th and Labonte in 18th. Further back, 31st place Joe Nemechek ran a scheme for the Mayor and Miss Bellum on the number 25, while 33rd place Brian Vickers had the Gangrene Gang on his number 60 Chevrolet. As we all know, the inaugural Nextel Cup Series season in 2004 saw a downturn in the number of teams and sponsors, bringing about the field fillers. Once again, Cartoon Network came to the rescue. Their first stop came in the Daytona 500, where Jeff Burton arrived without backing from Citgo. Back came Scooby-Doo and the gang in this Mystery Machine-themed paint scheme that for the first time gave the Cartoon Network Wacky Racing logo a much larger space on the hood. Burton took 11th on the grid after a fine run in the 125s, but a blown engine left him in 42nd. Their next stop came in the spring Atlanta race, when Morgan McClure Motorsports lost its backing from YokeTV.com. In an update to the popular paint scheme run at the same track 6 years earlier, the Powerpuff Girls returned on this shimmering red car for Kevin Lepage. This Powerpuff scheme featured Buttercup on the hood, and this time had Professor Utonium on the TV panel. The number font cleverly updated the Morgan McClure version just as Melling had done in 1998. Lepage finished 36th that day, still under power. 3 races later at Texas, the brand returned to Petty Enterprises for the first time in 3 years, this time on the iconic number 43 with driver John Andretti still on board in place of Jeff Green. On the hood of the Petty Blue Dodge was number 1 from codename Kids Next Door, which was wrapping up its 2nd season. Along with many returning characters were also the first appearances of both Chowder and Blue from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Andretti finished 35th in the car's Texas debut, then 24th in Martinsville. The 2004 season also saw not 1, but 2 different schemes for Richard Childress Racing's number 30. The car was first driven by rookie contender Johnny Sauter, who channeled Johnny Bravo on the white scheme for both the night races at Richmond and the Nextel Open, where he finished 19th and 6th. According to the team's press release, the scheme was planned to be run later in the year for a Johnny Bravo lookalike contest, where the winner would score tickets to the championship race at Homestead. But after Sauter was released for Jeff Burton, Time Warner turned its attention to the Looney Tunes, specifically Duck Dodgers, for this scheme that ran in the September race at the California Speedway. The Johnny Bravo contest was still on. The Los Angeles market offered plenty of candidates. In the race, Burton's crossover of galactic proportions climbed from 34th on the grid to a 15th place finish by the checkered flag. After 9 consecutive years of producing over 30 different paint schemes, fans were surprised to see no new Cartoon Network Wacky Racing paint jobs for the 2005 season. At the time, the channel was sponsoring other sports, including professional bowling. The drought didn't end until 2010, and did so in a big way. The spring race at Phoenix coincided with the series premiere of Adventure Time, and Joe Gibbs Racing was there to celebrate. Kyle Busch carried the face of Finn, Denny Hamlin had Jake, and sophomore Joey Logano had Princess Bubblegum. It was Busch who finished best of the trio in 8th, with Logano in 10th, and Hamlin back in 30th. Mindful of their history, Cartoon Network also reached out to another struggling single-car team as start and park efforts had returned to the sport. This time it was Joe Nemechek, the same driver from their Hendrick promotion at Charlotte in 2003, this time with Hendrick Motorsports. For the fall race at Loudon, scene of Nemechek's first Cup win, his number 87 promoted Symbionic Titan, set to debut that weekend. The neon accents melded perfectly with Nemechek's blue and yellow paint scheme, which also welcomed associate sponsorship from Crocs and Lunchables. This time Nemechek ran the whole race and came home in 29th. Premiering around the same time was Regular Show, which finally got its first feature of the program in 2015, this time joining Tommy Baldwin Racing's number 7 team for driver Alex Bowman. Reminiscent of Wally Dallenbach's Scooby-Doo car run 15 years earlier, Bowman's car featured the likes of Mordecai, Rigby, and their co-workers. Special commemorative cups were issued at Golden Corral, the team's associate sponsor, in conjunction with their popular Top 10 Kids Eat Free promotion. Bowman earned that top 10 run in the scheme's second appearance at Talladega, taking home 7th. Cartoon Network's infrequent appearances during the Gen 6 era led to an even longer absence, one which finally ended thanks to the introduction of Throwback Weekend at Darlington. Unbeknownst to fans, near the end of the 2010s, several throwback schemes were proposed, but never hit the track. This one, proposed for Chase Elliott, featured Courage the Cowardly Dog in a manner similar to his father Bill's scheme at Richmond in 2001. Another, intended for William Byron, offered an update of the Tom and Jerry car that Jeff Green ran in late 1997. And this scheme for Ty Gibbs in the Xfinity Series in 2021 directly referenced Galaxy Motorsports' Daytona scheme from 2000 and provided the added twist of featuring Disney characters from the Lion Guard. It wasn't until just last year at Darlington that the tunes returned to the track. The program picked up right where it left off, again featuring Regular Show, but this time in conjunction with both Adventure Time and, for the first time, The Amazing World of Gumball. All 3 shows would be featured on a flat yellow base for rookie driver Carson Hocevar. The scheme looked to capitalize on the car's new door number arrangement, placing characters on as many spaces as possible, including the roof, and a Cartoon Network logo on the A-pillar. Hocevar drove this car to a very popular 26th place finish. Thanks to an unprecedented number of souvenir sales that saw Hocevar's throwback outsell any cars driven by Chase Elliott, Cartoon Network Wacky Racing is no longer just a throwback scheme. They've since joined the Legacy Motor Club with Jimmie Johnson, who just last week confirmed his 700th Cup start at Charlotte will not be his last. In 5 races later this year, he'll run this scheme, the first to finally feature Wacky Racers exclusively, with Muttley now standing on the Yard of Bricks for its Indianapolis debut. Later this year, development driver Corey Heim will run this alternate scheme for the Checkered Past program, complete with the bright orange numbers, a throwback to the original Flintstone scheme. It's rumored already that Heim will take the brand with him to 2311 racing next season, just in time to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the first Wacky Racer unveiled in 1996. And maybe, just maybe, the next Heim time will signal the long-awaited first Cup Series victory for Cartoon Network. So thank you everyone for these amazing entries into the Cartoon Network Wacky Racing contest. I enjoyed reviewing each and every one of them, and I thought it would be fun to put this little video together. So tell me in the comments, which one is your favorite? And after the checkered flag in Nashville this Sunday, June 1st, be sure to tune into my live stream as I reveal which 3 of these schemes will take home prizes in the contest. More videos are on their way, including the next Rise of the Field fillers in 500 days, plus a starting grid for the inaugural Cup race at Mexico City next month, as requested by my Patreon. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for much more.
In America, there exists a sport that is driven by the fans. They are why everyone works so hard, on the teams and at the tracks, in front of the grandstands and behind the scenes, to give the fans the greatest race possible. NASCAR fans deserve the best, starting from the high banks of Daytona, all the way to the shores of California, and at every race in between. NASCAR fans, you're the reason for our success. Thanks.